Hello, and thank you for joining me today as I go over important agenda items that were approved in the month of May. Council focused this month on hiring a police chief, working on the infrastructure here in Socorro, looking to get about $10 million to provide for future use here in Socorro, and finally approved a rehabilitation center here in Socorro. First of all, let's talk about the chief of police. Socorro has been without a chief of police since about 2010 now. Socorro has had several issues with the police department, and in the past year, I think that we've done a great job in correcting those issues and moving our department forward. Socorro was ranked as the 16th safest city in Texas, according to SafeWites.com, and I believe that that is a testament to the fine job that our men and women are doing in keeping our city safe. So basically, what happened was that the Civil Service Commission met last month. They went over the candidates. They interviewed about 4 or 5 of them, and they basically gave recommendation of who they thought was the top candidate to city council. Out of the candidates that were interviewed, Mr. Carlos Maldonado was the one that was recommended by the Civil Service Commission. Mr. Maldonado has over 20 years of experience working under New Mexico State Police, and he was also the chief of police in the city of Laredo, Texas, which is also a border community much like ours. So basically, we have a new chief of police in place. Mr. Maldonado will start working with the city in the coming weeks, and we all look forward to having him here and working with him and continue to improve our police department so that you all are safe. I mentioned the council focused this month on improving the infrastructure here in Socorro. I had talked about last month how we had approved an overlay project, and we spent about $400,000 in this first phase of the overlay project. With that money, 22 streets were approved by council to be paved, and the first streets, La Poblana and Sylvia in District 4, were just paved last week. So basically, this first phase will start in District 4, move on to District 3, District 2, and finally District 1. This first phase, again, will be about 22 streets, and we hope to continue to do this type of overlay project in every single year, which is why the City of Socorro is looking to obtain $10 million to invest in the city over the next 4 years. City Council will use this money to hopefully pay for 3 main construction projects: the construction of Old Waco Tanks Road, the widening of Horizon and Buford, which is currently underway, and finally the possibility of building a bridge in District 4 to alleviate the congestion of traffic that will probably occur there because of the new influx of people that are moving into that district. The money from the $10 million will also be used to build sidewalks in Socorro. We know that is a big need. We also want to focus and continue to paving that street. Like we said, about $400,000 got us about 22 streets. So every year we're going to invest about $600,000 into the streets in Socorro, and we want to continue to working on that. We also want to focus on remodeling and working on Rio Vista Farm, which is one of the most important historical landmarks that Socorro has. We are going to focus on our parks. We want to give general upgrades to all of our parks and ensure that they have grass, they have playgrounds, they have the basic needs that a park should have, and that is what this money will be used for. The infrastructure in Socorro is very important to us, and we're doing our best to go ahead and address the needs that our constituents have. As many of you know, the city of Socorro has been hit by heavy rains in the past. The water that hits Horizon and the unincorporated areas of the county north of I-10 typically runs down and hits Socorro. We are forced to capture that water and deal with the damages that are caused by the floods that happen because the water runs from the north to us here in the south. In order to better control the water and address the needs that the flooding causes, we went ahead and approved 2 bids this past month. One bid will be for a vacuum truck, which will basically help suck out the water that is standing still and that develops here in Socorro. And the second machine will be a sandbag machine. The sandbag machine, of course, will help us make sandbags. We've ordered about 5,000 already, so we will continue to make those sandbags, and we will have them ready so that if the rains do come, the people of Socorro can go ahead and pick them up and use them in their homes. These 2 agenda items that were approved show that council is continuing to look closely at the flood issue and try to contain it as best as possible, and we will continue to work with this. We are looking to purchase land on Thunder and Rio Vista, which will give us even more capabilities of controlling the water that comes north of I-10 And again, this just shows that we are committed to helping the people deal with the floods. Finally, one of the most important agenda items that Council approved was the plan to build a senior rehabilitation facility here in Socorro. This plan for a center will potentially create between 80 to 100 jobs in the healthcare sector, and we're very excited to have this here in Socorro. It will take a couple of years to build, but the process has already begun. They went to Council through our Planning and Zoning Department for approval for the plans, and Council approved it. So now all it takes for the developer to come in, build the facility, and hopefully this will create more jobs here in Socorro, but most importantly, provide health care for our constituents, and we look forward to having them here in Socorro. So just to review over the month of May, again, Mr. Carlos Maldonado was hired as the Chief of Police here in Socorro. We did invest $400,000 into paving of streets, and 22 will be paved over the coming months. We look forward to investing $10 million into the City of Socorro. We did approve items to go ahead and buy a vacuum truck and a sandbag machine. And of course, we look forward to having the senior rehabilitation facility open here in Socorro. These were some of the important agenda items that were approved in May. As always, we thank you for joining us, and we look forward to continue to do this month by month to keep you informed. You can always like us here on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter at City of Socorro. You can watch us, of course, on YouTube. And most importantly, we want you to come to our City Council meetings. We want to hear from you. We're always open to new ideas and to anything that you feel needs to be addressed. Our City Council meetings are the first and third Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. So we look forward to seeing you there, and thank you for joining us.